What disturbing secret did you discover about your partner after getting married? I just found out my wife slept with another man 4 years ago. We've been together for 5. My wife and I got married 3 years ago, after dating for 2 years prior. Her sister got married 2 weekends ago and, of course, my wife was at the wedding party. As you'd expect, she spent the 2 weeks before the wedding helping her sister get everything ready. This wasn't a big deal at all. She kept me in the loop and I knew this was going to happen. A few hours before the ceremony on Saturday morning, I showed up hoping to see her before everything became hectic. I didn't want to intrude, knowing she was busy, but I hadn't seen her since Tuesday. Seeing me outside her parents' house, she sent her brother out to tell me she'd come to see me in the car. I found this a bit odd, but I let it slide. When she finally came out, she sat next to me, gave me a kiss, and instead of being happy to see me, she told me that we needed to talk and that she didn't want her sister's big day to be ruined. She told me that at the reception, I might hear some stories about the best man and her, and she didn't want it to be awkward or strange. I was just stunned. She admitted that around 4 years ago, she'd had a fling with him, but that it didn't mean anything. She said she knew I tend to get jealous, and wanted me to know in advance so that I wouldn't be surprised. I was stunned. This was not the start to my day I had imagined, but I told her I appreciated the information and that it certainly wasn't a big deal now. She went back inside the house, and I left to eat lunch, planning to meet her at the church. While I was eating and looking at my phone, it dawned on me that she had said the fling happened 4 years ago, but we've been together for 5. At first, I thought she had just told me the wrong time, but then I started to remember a year and a half into our relationship when she was acting strangely, was unavailable when she usually was, and went on 2 weekend camping trips with work friends. I was quite unsettled by this, but I knew I had a long day ahead of me. I attended the wedding and watched everything, keeping my feelings to myself. After the wedding, as I was congratulating the bride and groom, the best man was there and my wife was standing with another guy. I just acted as if it was no big deal. At the reception, I waited a long time for them to arrive because of the photos. When my wife finally arrived and sat with me, I decided not to say anything so as not to distract from the day. However, she then told me that she would be dancing with the best man as the bridesmaids and groomsmen were set to dance. I questioned this, but she told me the maid of honor and her partner were actually married and wanted to dance with each other. I was a bit upset, but I tried not to let it show. Thankfully, I chose not to drink, knowing that I can become angry when intoxicated. She was socializing with everyone around her, and then the dance came. The best man came over, extended his arm, and she got up. I made a point not to watch. After the dance, they returned, joking and reminiscing about old times and places, and she decided to introduce us. I was less than cordial, which didn't seem to deter him from sitting and chatting with her for a few minutes. The more they talked, the angrier I became. Eventually, I excused myself to go to the bathroom and when I came back, he was gone. She accused me of being rude, which I didn't want to hear. I told her this wasn't the time or place to discuss it, but we would certainly talk later. She then announced that she was going to change clothes and tell her sister that we were leaving because I had ruined her day. I told her that I was capable of not causing drama for the rest of the day, and I would prefer to stay. She came back changed and upset. Despite me not having said anything and even shaking the other guy's hand, she claimed I was visibly miserable and that's what she was reacting to. She insisted on leaving, so I said if she really wanted to go, we could, but if she'd rather stay, I'd be happy to stay, or I could leave since I had my own car. At first, she said we should stay, but then suggested if I couldn't improve my behavior, I should leave. I asked how I was misbehaving, and she said it was obvious I was upset, and that I was acting like a silverback gorilla ready to fight. I was taken aback. I returned inside and sat down while she mingled with the guests. I spoke with her brother for a while but eventually ended up back at our table talking with her grandma. We left at the same time, and I arrived home just before she did. I was sitting in the living room waiting for her when she arrived, and I immediately asked her to clarify the story about the best man. She repeated her initial account. After staring at her for a while, I asked her if she was sure about the time frame, and she confirmed. I then reminded her that we'd been together for a year when this fling occurred. Her reaction was unexpected. Instead of denying it or seeming flustered, she simply said, "I know." She then explained that they worked together, and it was just a physical thing. She thought we weren't in a good place at the time and never intended to leave me, she was just having some fun for a few weekends. She said it was probably a mistake to tell me now, but she didn't want me to get blindsided. I did not react the way she thought I would. We ended up having a massive argument, and it concluded when she accused me of being childish. I told her I needed time to think and she told me there was nothing to think about. We loved each other and this didn't change anything. That was 2 weeks ago and I still am not over it. She has been trying the past few days to get me to talk to her but I admit that for whatever reason I'm not viewing her the same as I did before this. Part of me is like that this is stupid, it happened a few years ago and we are married now and there hasn't been any problems at all. But then part of me is like I just found out she cheated on me and it hurts. What makes it worse is that instead of trying to understand how I feel, she is trying to guilt me into just not even thinking about it. I don't know what to do.